Okay, so now let's start jumping into the fundamental side of trading Nasdaq, because this has so much influence on the Nasdaq price, especially every single day at 3:30. I'm pretty sure you have noticed some of our recent trades where we've been catching some crazy moves at this time, which is the time when these fundamentals are basically released. So let's get straight into it. Some of the most influential companies under the Nasdaq always try to perform good, right? They always try to be on the positive side, which is obviously the main reason behind Nasdaq always being on an uptrend most of the time. For example, like Tesla has this focus on the future and is always looking to work on new and better cars to improve the environment, save the world from global warming by using electric cars which charge from solar panels, right? So renewable energy sources. At the same time, we have companies like Apple, which also have great influence in this market. And basically, Apple has been very good with its branding that people will always buy new Apple products to stand out. And they often release the latest items in terms of the technology aspect of things, right? Another big giant, which is Amazon, which is always looking for new ways to expand and keeps on growing bigger and better. And then in the entertainment sector, we have companies like Netflix, which is also under the Nasdaq and have such great influence as well. So people will always watch Netflix, like the entertainment will always be there, right? Something that people are now having as a sort of a necessity, something that people always need to have in their life. Like during these times of COVID quarantine, when everyone was under lockdown, and basically everybody was making use of Netflix. And this had some positive impact on the Netflix share price, which went up like crazy due to the views that increased like crazy as well. Now, these examples that we just gave you are just a few of the 100 companies plus that are in the Nasdaq that have great influence. As you can see, what these companies are focusing on is something that will always be part of our daily lives. It's something that will always be in demand, right? So with that increased demand, meaning that the buying opportunities will always be more than selling opportunities on Nasdaq. This is why we look for buying opportunities more than selling opportunities on Nasdaq, because we expect it to always be on an uptrend. But as we said, Nasdaq does not always buy all the time, but it is all about your timing and when you enter to catch those massive buy moves. Now, as you can see over here, we have a screenshot of some of these earnings reports from some of these companies. As you can see here with Netflix, Alphabet, Microsoft, Alphabet, which is Google. We have Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Tesla, which are some of the most influential companies. And you see, we're able to catch some massive moves just based on some of this positive news that came out on this day. So when the change of percentage in these companies are all green, that means we are buying Nasdaq, right? It's a definite buy. Why? Because there is some positive news on the companies, meaning that more investors are jumping in on the trends, pushing the Nasdaq price higher. And when they're all red, we sell Nasdaq because it means the exact opposite of what the positive outcomes mean. Meaning most of the investors will be pulling out, selling, which adds to the supply. And basically when there's increased supply, the prices will start to fall. Now, this is not always the case. As you can see with this example that we have over here, all the companies were red and only Tesla and Amazon were green due to positive news. We're still able to catch some buy opportunity on this based on our analysis, based on this strategy that you are learning in this course. Basically, as you can see here, we had a W at the low of the day and then the price bounced off that demand zone, confirming the buying opportunities. Tesla and Amazon positive fundamentals were just an extra confirmation in this case, because we know even if the rest are negative and these are positive, it can still move Nasdaq upwards. And this is all due to how much impact each of these companies have on the Nasdaq itself. Keep in mind that these companies don't have equal impact on the Nasdaq stock. Some have more impact than others. So if the big ones are positive, that means the Nasdaq will obviously have that bullish movement. So just keep in mind that these companies are all different, right? So it's not like every day they'll all be green or another day they'll all be red, right? This all depends on their reports and outcomes of what is happening in those companies, right? It's live data that is being released. That is what the price will react to, right? The live data, not some made up things, right? What is really going on in real life in those companies. There will also be days with mixed fundamentals, but keep in mind that the tech companies affect Nasdaq mostly with the most effect. So the tech companies have the most effect on the Nasdaq. Now, the biggest mistake that most traders make is to enter exactly at 3:30 when the new data has just been released for the New York session opening. Mostly this market can open with a positive gap, turning all those change in percentage of the companies green. And then all these traders jump in and buy on the spot, thinking that all these stocks are positive, so Nasdaq should be buying, right? And that is the case that it should be. Not knowing that these numbers is just investors reacting to a particular news, and then boom, after 3 minutes, the market actually settles down and then starts dropping again, going in the actual direction of where it should be going. And all those stocks turn red from greens, right? Closing up all the gaps that they have opened up with. So it's all about patience. Patience is very important. We know that most of you want sniper entries and want to be able to catch all those pips. Therefore, you just don't want to wait and basically just execute when you see the opportunity to do so. But you have to practice patience. The fear of missing out makes most people take trades against their own strategy. You have to stick to your strategy. They no longer wait for setup to be clear and all confirmations to be in check. They just execute and take trades based on how they feel. You know, emotional trading. Remember, we spoke about this emotional signals that you avoid. You just have to relax, right? Try to relax. Even if you get just one trade for the day, you are done. That is it for that day. Do not force the trades. One important tip that we can give you right now is to pay a lot of attention to this company's fundamentals as they play the biggest role under Nasdaq. And those companies are firstly Tesla, Amazon, and then Apple. So you need to pay much attention to these companies as they have the most influence on Nasdaq. As you can see here, for example, Tesla fell on this day and we were able to catch some good amount of pips over here with just a very small account of just $149. So to wrap up this lesson, you just need to keep in mind that fundamentals plays a very big role in this market, especially in this Nasdaq market. So if fundamentals are negative and you see a clear buy setup, a W at the low of the day on a demand zone, rather wait a little, right? Just have patience and see what happens before you enter your trade. No matter how strong a support area is, Nasdaq will break through it if investors are disappointed and there's negative news being released. So for a setup to be more strong, your technical analysis and fundamentals must be both a sell or a buy. So they must be aligned in order for you to have that perfect setup. That's it for this lesson. Let's move on to the next lesson as we dive deeper into these fundamentals. Let's get into it. Continuing with the fundamental side of things, just to give you some of these examples of how the market or Nasdaq reacted to this news. As you can see right here, we have an example of when the market had all reds over here, but we were seeing a clear V shape, which means that we're supposed to buy, but then the market literally just broke through our support and continued to the downside due to the fundamentals being all red. With this example, Nasdaq here literally broke through our support level and it came up again, giving us the V shape. And when we got this V shape, we literally thought that, okay, according to our strategy, this is just a false move. And then we basically went in on the buys. After our first entry, we were just in blues for a few seconds before a massive drop happened. We thought it's just a minor retest, and then we added more positions as we saw that Nasdaq is forming the second leg on the support level, which would be our perfect W formation, but fundamentals were still red, and on this day there were still some events that were negative, so the setup was invalidated and it was a false move and our stop loss got hit. So looking at this example, it is very important for you to take note of fundamentals. You can avoid trades like this when you know what is going on the fundamental side of things. Also take note that no matter how much attention you pay to everything, you will still make losses. Remember, losses are part of the game, right? You cannot 100% avoid them. And also risk management is very key. So you do not blow your account on one single trade. You don't go all in full margin on one single trade, right? That is very risky, and that is not a long-term trading mentality. So remember to stick to your risk management as well. Because once you blow your account, then you no longer have capital to place another trade. And basically for most traders, it will be a long time till they can get back in the market again, which will disturb your consistency in trading. And remember, we said consistency is key when it comes to trading. This is how the market is. So you have to get used to the fact that there will be losses and there will also be wins. Remember, to be a profitable trader, your wins have to be more than your losses. That is what your focus should be on. Now we just showed you a setup that didn't play out due to negative fundamentals, but we also have days like this when you spot a beautiful W at the low of the day and all the stocks are green. These are the ones that you can go hard on because you know that this is a confirmed trade and basically the chances of it playing out are very, very high, right? So positive news in all the companies, as you can see, and we get a perfect upward shoot like this, a massive one candle over there. As you can see, very, very beautiful setup that we had here, which was in line with the fundamentals as well. So as you can see, all the companies were green, and our W formation at the low of the day, meaning both technical analysis and fundamentals were in line on this day, and we had such a massive strong move to the upside and caught a nice good trade over here. So now that you understand how this news works, let's explain a bit on investing.com and exactly how things work over here. So the platform that we use for these fundamentals is investing.com, right? So you can get it as a mobile app on your phone as well, or you can just use their website on investing.com. So on your investing.com app, under watch list, you will just add these companies that have the most influence on Nasdaq, right? And that includes Netflix, Alphabet, Apple, and all the ones that we have covered in the previous lessons, right? So just so that you can keep in track what is going on with all those companies, right? Before you jump into your trades. So here's a quick explanation on how things work here on investing.com with the fundamentals on Nasdaq. On your watch list, you watch your changes of the stocks. And then before the New York session opening at 3:30, this is GMT +2 South African Standard Time. So if you are in a different country, just check on what time the New York session opens in your country, right? So before the New York session opens, the data that you have is just the pre-market data, right? So new data is released every day at 3:30 GMT +2 South African Standard Time. And that is why Nasdaq is so volatile at this time, as investors will be reacting to the new data and earnings that have been just released at this time. As we have explained before, when all stocks news are green, we are looking for buys, and when they are all red, we are looking to sell. The mistake a lot of traders do, they only depend on the fundamentals. As soon as the stocks are all green, they buy into the market, not knowing that it will quickly turn red to close those gaps that it has opened up with. So you need to make sure that your fundamentals are in line with your technical analysis as well. So that is why you need to have that patience, and instead of jumping in exactly at 3:30, you have to wait at least 5 minutes or more so that the market can settle down and give you the direction that the market is doing, which will be based on the investors' decisions, based on the fundamentals that have been released at 3:30. As we have said, you need to have the fundamentals in line with your technical analysis as well. Now, don't be too much interested in early entries or sniper entries, because the goal here is to make the most money possible, not chasing after entries, whilst losing track of the most important reason why you started in the first place, which is to make the most money out of the markets, right? To make a living and become a profitable trader. So on our investing app, investing.com app, under indices, futures will be where you look at Nasdaq to see how it performs. What we do here is we use stock 50 as an indication. We already know that if it is positive, then Nasdaq will follow it. We also look at the FTSE 100 as well as the DAX just to get an idea of what we can expect in the market. Also take note that indices no longer move like they did in the past. If Nasdaq is buying, then every other indices will also be buying. It is no longer that way. That is what it used to be, but it's no longer in that way. Right? So Nasdaq can buy hard whilst US 30 and other indices are dropping heavy. So don't rely on that anymore. Or all other indices are buying and Nasdaq will be dropping hard before buying and following the rest of the indices, just to one negative announcement. So only use fundamentals as an indication and confirmation to where price is going. Under futures on the investing.com, US Tech 100 is Nasdaq. So you can basically check how it is moving there, as well as the charts to see current market structure. Remember what I said, your fundamentals need to be in line with your technical analysis. So under your watch list news is where you can check out the most influential companies under Nasdaq100 and what they are up to, right? So if they will be releasing new products or what challenges they are currently facing, all the positive news will obviously influence it in a positive direction, meaning bullish market that we can expect, or the negative bearish market that we can expect on Nasdaq. So once you see what the companies are up to, you can then determine on those news how investors will react to those news and whether we can expect to buy or sell. So keep in mind that all this cannot be used alone to buy Nas or sell Nasdaq, right? So you have to do it with technicals. Whether you like it or not, technicals play a huge role in your journey. So you need to know your price action to make it. The most important tool that you need to become a profitable trader is basically your mindset. So make sure that your mindset is right and follow all the tips that we gave you in the previous lessons. That's it for this lesson. Let's go into our next lesson. Congratulations on making it all the way to the end of this course. Remember what we said, you are now done with the 50% of the work. The other 50% is to basically implement everything that you have learned in this course so that you can start banking on those trades, on those profits, and trade like the big boys, right? So with this course, you obviously also get mentorship. The time that you enrolled in for the course, you basically got added to a group whereby the mentorship goes down, right? So remember, your network is your net worth. So this is a group whereby there is a lot of other traders who are on the same page as you. They're doing the same strategies. You get motivated by the results that they are getting if you're just starting out, and you also motivate others with your own results that you'll be getting, because we are very definite that this is the strategy that you need, right? This is the only strategy that you need to make it in the markets and trade like the big boys. With that being said, you also need to understand that now you have the knowledge that you need to kill the markets, right? To trade like the big boys, right? So the winning strategy doesn't have to be a complicated one, doesn't have to be the complex one, right? So this is everything that you need to understand, put together, and kill the markets like we do every day. I mean, you have seen our results. Our results speak for themselves, so there's no need for us to explain very much on that. If you got any questions, you can always get in touch with us through the group, or just post your questions on the group. We will help you with whatever questions that you have. Otherwise, remember, practice makes perfect. So if there's anything that you're really struggling with, you can always go back to the lessons and then try it out again and watch those lessons over and over again until you actually grasp that what you need to understand. So once again, congratulations on making it through all the course. Now it's time to implement. Let's eat.